social scene. Forgiveness rock record.
Hello, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Gonna do an album review here. Broken Social Scene's Forgiveness rock record. Now, Broken Social Scene is a band, or collective, or club. I don't know. They're from Canada, and the group is, for the most part, spearheaded by two musicians, Brendan Canning and Kevin Drew. But the band does tend to talk up how collaborative they are, working with anywhere up to maybe 19 people on a single track. And among some of these collaborators are Feist, and Emily Haynes, and many more people. And the style this band shoots for can definitely be categorized as indie rock. Some people would say art rock, and I've heard some go as far as to say post-rock. The band's new LP is Forgiveness rock record. It's their fourth album, and it's the follow-up to their 2005 self-titled LP, which got some pretty unanimous praise in independent music circles. Not as much as their previous, but still, good praise. And one more thing to acknowledge about this new LP is the switch one producer to another. The previous producer that Broken Social Scene used to work with was David Neufeld, and now they're working with John McIntyre, who has a much more impressive list of clients, but we will get into whether or not that actually panned out for this LP. The first thing that hit me about this record, much more than Broken Social Scene's two previous albums, this thing is amazingly straightforward, almost painfully straightforward, to the point where it feels as if they're simplifying the songs for a dumber audience. It's true, Broken Social Scene does have some experimental roots, and their latest albums haven't really been about experimentation first, but still, this thing really kind of seems to be completely devoid of adventure. It's a pretty safe album. Every riff, melody, and production decision seems like some kind of watered-down musical agreement that could only be arrived at democratically. And I know the group is supposed to be a collective, but this album to me just sounds really anonymous. The band's previous work was so much more definitive, had so much more character to it. This LP just feels like a pile of messy indie rock notions that take absolutely no chances and makes no move to come up with a definitive sound. Which brings me to the production. Now, this thing could have been collaboratively mixed with John McIntyre, collaboratively produced with John McIntyre, but still, some of these songs are destroyed. They're wrecked. There are at least a handful of moments where tracks have the drums mixed so loudly that they drown out any hope of actually enjoying the song. For example, Forced to Love, Meet Me in the Basement, Water in Hell. There's just really not a lot of subtlety to this album, and that's kind of disappointing. Though, seriously, the hooks on some of these songs are fantastic. Some of the arrangements and some of the melodies are great. For example, the string arrangements on Meet Me in the Basement are just fantastic addition to the song. However, making the drums sound so sharp that it sounds like a jackhammer is literally entering your ear canal doesn't really add to the track. But there are tracks on here that I do like, and for the most part, I am really amazed, surprised at this band's versatility. For example, on the track Sentimental X's, they really go for this poppy, linear kind of krautrock thing with these light drum machines, these really blippy synths, and I could say they pull it off really well. That's a great track to me. But despite their versatility, despite the fact that Broken Social Scene can take on some different sounds, they don't really do anything with any of the styles throughout this LP that separates them from the bands and the musicians, the artists who have done a certain style 100 times before. Now, I'm not looking for the reinvention of music here. All I'm looking for is something that is just a little definitive, something that will just tell me who Broken Social Scene is, at least on this record. But, to be honest, I don't feel any closer to that answer now than I did before I let this album take up an entire hour of my life. More than once. Though there are some decent spots on this record, the parts that I did like were really few and far between. This thing is just generic. It's just painfully generic. But, you guys know how I feel about this stuff. It's opinion, pretty much. But, this is what I want to know. If you're digging on this LP, let me know why. Let me know how much you're digging it. Let me know what some of your favorite tracks are, and let me know if you liked their earlier stuff better, or if you like this LP better. I'm feeling a decent 4 on this thing, a light to decent 4. Not really feeling all that happy about it. I really expected more from it and thought I was actually going to enjoy it quite a bit, but what are you going to do? Anthony Fantano, Broken Social Scene, Forgiveness rock record. Forever.